The morning Peter Rabbit decided to leave, the wind was standing still as if even the sky was holding its breath. Peter stood at the edge of the old burrow, his small paws trembling around a crumpled map that smelled of ink and fear. Behind him lay everything he had ever known, the soft earth warmed by generations, the echo of his mother's gentle voice, the laughter of his sisters drifting like dust motes in the sunlight. Ahead of him was something far bigger than the meadow, bigger than his courage, bigger than his doubts. He didn't know it yet, but this single step would change not only where he lived, but who he would become. If you've ever stood at the edge of a choice that scared you more than staying behind, this is where you walk beside Peter, because once he steps forward, there is no turning back. The burrow had never felt so small. Boxes made from folded leaves were stacked unevenly, each holding a piece of Peter's life, his father's old scarf, worn thin but still smelling of safety, the smooth pebble his mother once said carried luck, the carrot knife he'd chipped the first time he tried to cook on his own. His family moved quietly around him. His sisters tried to smile, but their eyes shone with unshed tears. His mother hugged him longer than usual, her paws firm, as if trying to memorize the shape of him. She said she was proud, but her voice cracked on the word, and Peter felt guilt rise in his chest like a heavy stone. Why did chasing something more always feel like leaving something precious behind? The big move wasn't Peter's dream at first. It was necessity. The meadow was changing. The humans were building closer every season, their machines growling like metal beasts. The food was scarcer, the hiding places fewer. Peter had watched neighbors disappear, some running away, some captured, some never seen again. When he found the map tucked inside an old book showing a distant valley beyond the river and the hills, a place marked safe and green, hope had bloomed inside him like a dangerous flower. Hope that whispered, maybe there is more than just surviving. Maybe there is a future. The first challenge came quickly before Peter had even crossed the meadow. The river lay ahead, wider than he remembered, its surface broken by fast-moving currents that laughed at his fear. He had crossed it before with others, but now he was alone. His heart pounded as memories flooded him. Stories of rabbits swept away, of dreams ending beneath cold water. He almost turned back. Almost. Then he remembered his mother's words from long ago. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else matters more. Clutching his map, Peter stepped onto a floating log, slipped, soaked his fur, and scrambled forward, gasping, terrified but moving. When he reached the other side, shaking and breathless, he laughed through tears. The river hadn't taken him. The world hadn't ended. He was still here. Days passed, marked by sore paws and restless nights. Peter met others on the road. A hedgehog who had lost his home to fire, a sparrow who sang only sad songs because she missed her flock, an old tortoise who moved slowly but never stopped. Each carried their own reason for leaving, their own invisible wounds. Around small fires, they shared stories, and Peter realized something important. He was not weak for being afraid. Everyone was afraid. What mattered was that they kept going anyway. But the biggest test came when Peter reached the hills. The path split in two, one road long but safe, the other short but dark, winding through a forest known for foxes. The map suggested the shorter route, but the tortoise warned him softly, fast paths demand a price. Peter stood there until the sun dipped low, doubt tearing at him. If he took the long road, he might run out of food. If he took the short one, he might not make it at all. In that moment, Peter understood the weight of choice. No path promised comfort. He chose the forest. The trees swallowed him whole. Every sound felt louder, every shadow alive. Halfway through, a fox appeared, eyes gleaming, smile sharp. Peter ran. He ran harder than he ever had, lungs burning, heart screaming. He remembered his family, the meadow, the river, the promise he had made to himself. When he burst out of the forest and collapsed in the grass beyond, alive and shaking, Peter knew something had shifted inside him. Fear no longer owned him. It still existed, but it no longer decided. When the valley finally appeared before him, wide, green, and quiet, Peter cried openly. But the relief was mixed with something else. Loneliness. The new burrow he dug felt empty at night. There was no familiar breathing around him, no shared laughter, no one to tell his small victories to. For the first time, Peter questioned whether the big move had been a mistake. What was the point of safety if it felt so hollow? Then, one by one, others arrived. The hedgehog found him. The sparrow nested nearby. Even the tortoise appeared weeks later, smiling slowly. Together they built something new, not just shelters, but a community. Peter planted carrots and shared them. He taught young rabbits how to read maps and listen to their instincts. The valley filled with life and stories, with mistakes and forgiveness, with growth. Years later, Peter stood at the edge of his new home, watching the sun rise. Wimleo! He was older now, his fur touched with gray, but his eyes were steady. Young rabbits gathered around him, listening as he spoke about the big move, not as a tale of escape, but as a story of becoming. He told them that leaving doesn't mean forgetting, that fear doesn't mean failure, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is step into the unknown with a shaking heart. And if you listen closely, at the very end of Peter's story, you might hear the quiet truth he leaves behind. Your life doesn't change when you arrive somewhere new. It changes the moment you decide to move.